There's no secret that I like watching movies. I love reviewing movies, and I think you could tell based on my 2 reviews that I've done. I thought I like movies. I've always liked movies as a kid, and I've always wanted to direct movies, and so I'm like, why not get a letterbox? To give my opinions on movies. And then I thought I watch a lot of Kirsten Runquist, and I thought, why not do the thing that he does, but like one thing's different. So yeah, basically what he does is that he goes over all the movies he watched and reviewed on Letterboxd, and that's what I'm going to be doing right now. Except there are 2 differences. One is that I'm going to be going over May and June because I had this idea in May, but I didn't do it for some reason, and I'm kind of wanting to make up for it because there's a lot more movies that I watched in May than in June, so it'd be like a pretty full video. And also, some of these movies I haven't seen in a while. I'm just like some of these I'm just kind of going off memory of what I remember from them. So yeah, we're gonna go into this. I gotta go see Jurassic World here in a minute. There are gonna be some movies I'm gonna be talking about a little bit more, but yeah. First one from May, May 3rd. We got a 5 out of 5 star movie, and that is Sinners. I already reviewed Sinners. I already made a video talking about Sinners, and it's a good movie. What can I say? I love like what they did with the vampires. I love Michael B. Jordan's performance. I think it's probably one of the best performance, like one of the most, not, I wouldn't say best performances, but like probably one of the most whatchamacallit, probably one of the most impressive performances I've seen in a newer movie. And that's because he plays 2 characters. Sometimes like I'm watching the movie and like I don't even like recognize that these 2 people are like the same person. It's crazy. And I don't know whether I should put that on like the acting or the technology, because they had like new technology for Michael B. Jordan to kind of like talk to himself and like make it look real, and it is insane. I think both of them are very big contributors to that. Like, and his acting, I feel like if his acting wasn't on point though, it wouldn't have been nearly as good. So yeah, he. I feel like that's not what like a lot of people talk about with that movie, with Sinners, and I feel like more people need to talk about his performance. It's absolutely amazing. Um, Everyone else's performance is really good. I like the girl. I forgot her name, and she's like the mixed girl. But like she's like the biracial girl. She's very good in this movie. The jazz player, the little kid who's like the son of the preacher. He's a very good actor, and I heard that this was his first role, which is insane. He does really good. I always like watching movies where the actor who's just starting to act like is already really good. Yeah, Sinners is a really good movie. Probably one of the best this year. I'm gonna be honest with you, from what I've seen. We go from a pretty dang almost 10 out of 10 movie to the Minecraft movie. I watched this with my friends. It's what you expect. It's Jack Black giving his quippy lines. It's everyone else. Weirdly, everyone else in this movie has good acting. They're just not given great lines. The Minecraft stuff in this movie looks like those videos of like back in like about 10 years ago, where they're like, this is gonna be Minecraft in the future, and it's like really highly detailed, and yeah, it is kind of ugly. That's basically what this movie is, and it's not very good, but I had a good time watching it with friends. But it's definitely something that I probably won't watch again after watching it with my friends, because it's like, as a movie, it's just like not very good. Really, it's not really well made. There's some funny jokes in there. I like the pig being named Chungus. It's like, you know what they were doing with that. Next one, we got one of my favorite movies of all time as of right now, Uncut Gems. I like Adam Sandler, I think, but when it comes to his movies, he's a very mixed bag. He could either do pretty funny movies or pretty annoying movies or pretty serious roles. And to me, Uncut Gems is probably one of his best acting performances. He is this guy. He is Howard, and it's basically Howard is a gambling man. He's a jeweler, but he's also a big gambler, and he makes a lot of bad bets. And Kevin Garnett is in this movie. I like how stressful this is. And I noticed that I like a lot of shows and movies that are kind of like that, like The Bear. I've always liked that type of stuff. And there's so many other like characters in this movie, um, like that are not like experienced actors at all, and they still give like great performances. And like that's what I like about the Safdie brothers is that like that I love their directing style, and I love like kind of just how they give the characters free reign to like free range, because usually in like when you're making a movie you have like your characters or like your actors go from one place to another with like tape, like you have tape right there and then you have to like walk over here, and I like that they give them free range in the movie because it feels a lot more realistic. And also like everybody, nearly everyone except like some of the main characters are like even experienced actors, and they still like give a really good performance, and it's kind of insane. I love the score for this, like the songs for this movie. They're like they just feel like they add to the anxiety, but in a way it's like kind of calming weirdly. And the ending is insane. It's I'm not gonna say that because yeah, I don't want to spoil this movie, and I feel like just saying that like people are gonna like already know, so I'm just not gonna say that. Very good movie, probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Next one on the list we got next one is another Adam Sandler comedy. Then that next two are actually two other Adam Sandler movies, Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2. I did watch the first and second one recently, like just like yesterday, and I think the second one has better jokes, but the first one has a better like plot, and like like it's a better movie, I guess. But like the second one, I feel like when you like the second one, like the first 30 minutes are just comedy gold. Like the guy in the bus in the second one, and he's like freaking out of his mind, and just I will say the first scene with the deer wasn't the best, but everything else pretty funny. All right, and I mean there's some points where it's like really funny, and then there's some points where it's just like they didn't land, the joke didn't land very good. It's either fart jokes or like poop jokes that I'm not really a huge fan of, but like still pretty funny. I like the first one too. I like the funeral scene. It's just so stupid. Rob Schneider saying "Sang Maria," and I will say this: every time in these movies Rob Schneider gets hurt is probably one of the best scenes in the movie, because I hate Rob Schneider. I hate him not just as an actor, I just hate him as a person. Those are always fun to watch whenever he gets hurt. I just love watching just stupid comedies, like stuff that just is like, it's just dumb. It's just dumb jokes, really. Yeah, there's just movies I like to put on when I'm in a good mood. We go from movies that are not really liked that I like to a movie that's not really liked and I could kind of agree with, and that is Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. Now, this just kind of came up in my letterbox, and I was like, might as well just review it, because I remember watching this movie, and I remember not really being a big fan of it, like compared to the first and the Chipwrecked, I think. Yeah, it was Chipwrecked. There was, what was the third one? Was the third one Chipwrecked? I don't remember, but I remember not liking it as much, but this was when I was like, like this was like a couple years ago. But I also recently watched Chipwrecked, the movie, and that was like one of my favorite ones. And I just remember like thinking like this is not holding up to what I thought it was, because I watched it when I was a kid. I thought it was funny because when I was a kid I thought everything was funny, but looking back, it wasn't really that funny. So maybe if I watch this, it's going to be like kind of different. Like, oh, it's actually not that bad compared to what I thought it was. But from what I remember, I just remember not really being into the whole school thing and like the girl chipmunks. Like I always thought that was just kind of eh. And also like what's this guy? The human. I forgot the name. I know the actor's name. But yeah, I always thought like it was lame that he wasn't in the second one. He was just kind of hurt, and they had to get like some other guy who looks like him in the movie. I don't know if it was his like son-in-law or whatever, um but yeah, I remember not really liking it as much. I gave it 2 stars. But maybe I'll watch it and maybe I'll give you an updated version in the next one, but for now just wasn't really my favorite out of all of them, but maybe it's going to be different. And looking back, like some of the Chipmunks movies weren't the greatest, but I always remember them like as like kind of a nostalgia thing or whatever. Next 2 movies. Now we got another tour movies. The Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Both I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. Now, both of these movies, I kind of flip-flop around between which one's better because although the second one is a lot more grand, it's a lot more, bigger in every way. It's got like, so many new art styles. It's got like a bigger plot than the first one. I do like the first one because it's just like this is a little, tiny spoiler for Across the Spider-Verse, but with Into the Spider-Verse, you got a pretty good storybook. Well, not storybook ending, but like a conclusive ending. Like everything kind of works out at the end, and I always like movies that are just kind of like at the end of the movie everything is kind of done for. Like they kind of tease maybe a little bit of something, but it's mostly pretty much done for. You're ready for the second movie, but the second one has like a kind of to be continued, and it's like I'm hyped for the new Beyond the Spider-Verse, but it's just like I like it when a movie kind of just ends like that, you know what I mean? But also I guess the to be continued. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. The to be continued one, in the second one, I guess is just kind of like, I guess it's just an impatient part of me. It's like I want to watch the next one right now. You know what I mean? Like I want to watch this right now. I want to see how this ends. So, but everything other than that, like the second one, I feel like is just like there's so many newer art styles, so many like new characters, and it's just like it has this new character called the Spot, and he's like very like no one really takes him seriously. He's just a very villain of the week, even villain of the day type of person, and then he kind of gets built up into this like really big like like he's developing like all of his like powers and stuff, and I do like the Spots. Like it's really funny when he like it makes for good action scenes, and but I also like the first one because it's like I do like the origin part of the first movie, because I like watching origin movies of like superheroes, except X-Men Origin Wolverine. That's the only one I don't like. But everything else, I like watching like origin stuff, and it's like seeing Miles kind of like grow into Spider-Man, and he also does in the second one. And I feel like in the second one, he has a lot more like, I guess, character development, or like kind of like just more focused on like his personal life, which I think is really good, and like his family life and stuff. Both of these movies I feel like are on par with each other. They're maybe the second one's slightly tad bit better, but like the first one is just like I remember watching that and I was just like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And the second one is just like it's like it ups that, and I love like in the second one where like we see Gwen's world and everything is just like a color palette thing, and like the backgrounds turn into these just basically solid colors, and just like different parts of the world. The Indian Spider-Man's pretty funny sometimes in the second one, and the thing is that with these movies is that you don't really get to see well, you get to see a little bit like of these movies, but of these characters in these movies, but you don't get to see them in like the second one as much. But like I still remember all of these characters, and it's crazy because like they're given like a little bit of time, but it's like I still remember them. Like I still remember the Rockstar, like the punk Spider-Man. He's pretty cool. The Spider-Ham, in the first one, the Spider Noir, the anime Spider-Man, the Spider-Woman, or like the just all of these characters I remember. I love these movies. I could go on and on. I could make a whole review about it, but I'm waiting to Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out. But yeah, very good movies. I watched them like 100 times. Next one, we got another 5 out of 5 star movie, and that is The Lighthouse. I watched this with my brother, and he thought it was insane, but like he could kind of see, kind of just what it was going for, and this movie's insane. I can't even like say most, like, I can only cite the basic plot of this movie because everything else is like one of those movies like you just gotta go in blind. But it's about these two lighthouse wickies who get stranded, I guess, at the lighthouse. They can't really go anywhere, and because like the boats are gone or whatever, and so they're just stuck at this lighthouse, and like just a whole bunch of crazy stuff happens, and it's probably one of the best Willem Dafoe performances I've ever seen. But I haven't seen that many Willem Dafoe performances other than the Green Goblin. But from what I've seen from here, it's like there's a scene in this movie where he doesn't blink the entire time. He gives this curse thing, and he doesn't blink the whole time, and it's like that takes dedication. Robert Pattinson in this movie. I feel like this is the movie that kind of showed people that he's more than just like the Twilight movies. I mean, you could argue that like Good Time was kind of like that, but like I feel like this movie was like kind of made people realize like this guy, he wants to do some acting. So that's cool. He does a great performance in this, and literally like Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson pretty much make up most of this movie. They're pretty much two of the like only characters in this movie, and they just go insane. They go absolutely nuts, and sometimes like you don't really know. It's like one of those movies like you don't really know like if this is real or if this is not real, and it's just like kind of a mind-boggling movie, and yeah, I love it, and it's one of my I wouldn't say one of my favorite movies, but it's a movie that I feel like people are gonna remember and be like, they're gonna look back later and they're gonna be like, this is one of the best movies of all time, and they're gonna put it up there. Next one, we got a new Christmas classic, at least in my opinion. Like, it's one of those movies, kind of like A Christmas Story or Home Alone, where it takes place during Christmas, but it's not really like about Christmas. And that is The Holdovers. It stars Paul Giamatti and this kid who was actually chose to be in this movie. Well, yeah, he was chose, but he asked first to be in this movie because they were shooting at a school, and he was one of the kids at the school, and he wanted to be in a movie. And so they got him to be in the movie, and it's kind of crazy because, again, it's one of those cases where it's like, it's an actor who's never acted, well, not an actor, it's just a regular person who's never acted before, and this is his first role, and he's already, like, amazing. I love seeing that. It's kind of a weirdly wholesome, but also, like, depressing movie, I guess. Like, it's kind of like a bittersweet hug, really. It's about this teacher who over the winter tries to take care of these kids from his school who are not really the best kids, and yeah, it's a warm movie. It does a lot of tropes, well, not tropes, but like cliches, which aren't bad usually, like, but like I think they're utilized amazingly here, and I think it's one of those movies like you could tell something's gonna happen, you already know it's gonna happen, but like it's painful when it does. The ending is very, very good, and yeah, it's a great movie, and I really recommend it. Now next, we got a short movie here. We got a short, unedited footage of a bear, and it's what it sounds like. All right, there's nothing else in this movie. It's just an unedited footage of a bear. It's pretty good. It's pretty good footage. I mean, there's nothing else in this movie. All right. You could watch it on YouTube if you want to, like, it's just an unedited footage of a bear. That's all I gotta say. Just watch it. Just watch it. Just watch it. Then we got The Emperor's New Groove. Now, I think that this movie is very ahead of its time when it comes to its comedy. It's just like, it's very like that kind of random comedy, but not like a 2010s random, like LOLXD, like type of random. It's like very just kind of like absurd humor, and I like it. It's funny. It's a funny movie. It's a movie that I remember watching as a kid. I'm like, this is probably the funniest movie I've ever, like, Disney movie I've watched. You know, you got, what's his face? He's from the Grown Ups movies. I should know it. David Spade. John Goodman. You got some good actors. Patrick Warburton, who plays Gronk, and he's one of the best characters of all time, of anything, of any movie ever made. Shout out Gronk. And we get another animated movie, from around the same time. Lilo and Stitch. This movie is, it's very nostalgic for me. I don't know why I say it. I just don't like saying the word nostalgic because it's like I'm still kind of young, and it's like I feel like nostalgic is for like people past the age of 25. I get it is kind of nostalgic for me. I love Lilo. I love Stitch. It just gives me a lot of memories, and I like the Hawaiian stuff in here, and Ohana, pretty iconic. I guess from what I remember, the thing I didn't really like about it was I think the ending scene was kind of a little, I don't know. I don't think anything bad happened in the ending scene. It's just I remember not really like caring about it, but it's been a second since I watched it. From what I remember, it's pretty much a great movie. I always remember that big giant like hippopotamus looking guy. He's cool, but like he doesn't really do much in the movie from what I remember. It's a classic. It's a classic movie. So then we get another movie that I was very much grew up on, and that is the Lego Movie. Now I have this on my 4 favorite movies of all time. It's a classic. I mean, Emmett is one of the, I wouldn't say one of the best protagonists, but he's a great protagonist in this movie. He's played by Chris Pratt, and I don't care what anyone says. I think Chris Pratt is a pretty cool guy. I think he's overutilized in a lot of movies, but like I think he's pretty cool. So he's good in this movie. You got Morgan Freeman playing the Lego version of Morgan Freeman, and you got just an all-star cast. I like the message it gives across about like being creative, and it's funny. It's a really funny movie. It's one of those like very fast paced movies with like 100 jokes in there, and nearly every one of them hit. And yeah, it's just a great movie. I remember watching it in theaters when it came out, and I remember loving it. I remember like kind of the soundtrack that would play in the trailers, and it was pretty cool. Next, we got a movie that I did watch, and some of these movies I did watch, and I haven't told you that, but I'm just going to tell you that randomly. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I don't know if I'd call this the best. I feel like the first one is probably the best, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I laughed a lot more in the first one than I did in the third one. I think the second one is probably the weakest, honestly. But the third one, I love it. But like I feel like the first half, when it cuts to it keeps cutting to Rocket and like his backstory, and then it cuts back to like slapstick humor. I feel like they could have done it a little bit better with that instead of keeping on going back to like Rocket's really tragic backstory, and then we go back to like funny stuff. They could have done it a little bit better because it's like it feels like emotional whiplash. You know what I mean? Like 1 minute I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny, and then the next minute is like, oh my gosh, we're dealing with one of the worst villains. And when I say one of the worst villains of this movie, I mean one of the worst villains of like, you know what I mean? Like he is like evil, like, and it's good to have like an evil villain, especially nowadays, because every other movie is just like, we need to make this villain like super. At the end of the movie, like turns out to be good. Like we need to make them empathetic and stuff. And it's just like that's cool. I mean, they did that in the Lego Movie at the end. That's not always bad, but it's just like that pretty much most of their movies up until that point were just like or most movies nowadays are just like, let's have an empathetic villain, and it's just like, that's cool, but it's also like, let's have an evil, just evil, evil guy, like just like one of the worst people you can think of. That's cool, and I like to see that, but it's also like, you don't really get much of like a personality for him. He's just kind of evil. So I wish they kind of did more with that. I think the ending is probably one of the most heartfelt endings in a Marvel movie. It felt like an actual like good ending instead of like Marvel movies like had they always like try to like tease for the next movie. And I mean they did like have a post credit scene, but like at the end, especially just like at the end, they always have to like tease the next movie, and it's like it's nice to have an ending where it's like it's all wrapped up. You know what I mean, for these types of movies. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a great movie. Yeah, we go from Guardians of the Galaxy to Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Now, I've heard of this movie. I heard a lot of good stuff about this movie. I heard that Michael Keaton is in this movie, and I love Michael Keaton. I think he's a very underappreciated actor, and it's cool to see him in this because people always talk about like, oh, this is kind of reflective of his life, and with like the Birdman and how he hasn't had really a successful career after that. I mean, he became the Vulture, which is like kind of crazy because it's like Birdman, Vulture. Yeah, I love this movie. I like the one shot thing that they do. At first, I was like, yeah, this is kind of gimmicky, and maybe it's a little gimmicky, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like without it, it just wouldn't. It's a very unique type of movie. You know, like even if it's just unique to be unique, it's still a unique movie. You know, Edward Norton plays Edward Norton in this movie, pretty much himself. It's what I imagine Edward Norton acts to his co-stars, which is probably not true, but like I guess in the same vein, of just wanting to say whatever. It's kind of a symbolic movie also sometimes, especially the ending, because you don't really know if it's like if that's his mind or it's kind of one of those is it in his head type movie, which I feel like can be done right and also done wrong, and I feel like doing it wrong is worse. It makes for a worse movie, but they do it right here, and it's also kind of a very time capsule movie. I feel like this is definitely the height of like millennial stuff. Also, they mention Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., and I did see a Letterboxd review saying this is Robert Downey Jr. in 10 years, and he's playing Doctor Doom now, so maybe I don't know. It's a good movie. I think it's a near perfect movie. I think there's just certain scenes that probably don't need to be in there, but it's in there. Emma Stone. I always like Emma Stone. I always like her in movies. It's good. I feel like I could say more, but I'm not going to. Next movie we got this. This could have been a good segue with the Robert Downey Jr. Thing I mentioned, because like they mentioned him and like how good, like how more successful he is compared to Birdman, and they mentioned that in the movie when the Avengers came out. But there's a movie in between that for some reason I reviewed that I haven't even seen the movie at all. Like I don't even like want to watch the movie. I don't even know what the movie really like. Some of the scenes look like. I've just ever been described it. And that's the Human Centipede 2. I only rated this movie because I felt like I needed a half-star movie, and I couldn't really think of any of them that I would hate that much. But then I thought of, the Human Centipede exists, and I've heard worse stuff about the Human Centipede 2, so I just rated it a half-star. And I'm not watching this movie anytime soon. Unless it's like Halloween and I need a video idea and I'm desperate. I might do it, honestly. But yeah, it's from what I'm described from this movie, what happens in this movie, it's more than just the Human Centipede. The worst part about this movie isn't even the Human Centipede. It's something else. I don't know if you guys care about spoilers for the Human Centipede. I bet you're not even gonna watch it, but if you care, then skip a little bit. Skip like about 10 seconds. But yeah, there's a pregnant woman, and she gives birth in the car, and she's trying to like escape, and she buckles the baby up, but the baby falls out and lands on the gas pedal, and uh, she's in a hurry to leave, and you can picture what happens. And that's probably, I heard, the worst, that this is the worst movie. Like the worst part of the movie. Next movie, which was supposed to be a segue, Iron Man. Iron Man, the first one, the Iron Man, the one that kicked off the MCU, and it's one of the MCU, in my opinion, is one of the best and worst gifts of movie cinema. The first one to kick off everything, I feel like, is a near perfect movie. I know I say that about pretty much everything, but like this was a movie that I knew pretty much every single line from when I was a kid. I knew pretty much all the dialogue. I could like, I don't know if I can. I don't think I can like read off all the dialogue just off the top anymore. But I used to like quote this movie every single time it was on because I just loved it. I loved Robert Downey Jr. in this one. He like there's no other actor I can even think of to play Iron Man. Which they did make a new Iron Man show, Iron Heart, but they didn't make the main character try to be Iron Man. It's just another character, which I think it was a lot better than just like trying to find a replacement for Iron Man. So that's good. I might watch that show, I'm gonna be honest with you. But yeah, I love this movie. Obadiah Stane yelling at that guy, saying that Tony Stark built it in a cave, is probably the funniest part of the movie for me. Very good movie. Very good movie. And the next movie that's also near perfect, that I feel like should be perfect, but I feel like there are a couple things holding it back from being like a very perfect movie, and that's The Irishman. Now, I watched all 3.5 hours of this movie in a span of a day. Like, it's just the whole movie is basically old people talking. Old Italian, Irish people talking. But I was engrossed in everything. I loved the whole like mob boss feel from like Martin Scorsese. He's very good at making those types of movies. And I just love kind of just like it feels like you're watching like an entire life, really, watching this movie. Robert De Niro is very good, and I think the from what I remember, the de-aging that they did for Robert De Niro and the rest of the cast was very good. I heard some people say it's kind of like choppy. I think it looks really good personally, and it's such a shame that this only was on Netflix and not anywhere else, because it's like this movie needed to be on the big screen. You know what I mean? I do feel like there's certain parts of the movie that they didn't really need to put in, because it's like a 3.5 hour movie, but it's also like a very fast paced movie, which is weird. Like you expect for something like this to be like kind of more slower, but it's very fast paced. It's based off of a true story of like Jimmy Hoffa, if you know him. He was like a big I think like the president of some club or whatever, and very big mob boss, and got me interested. The climax, the last 90 minutes of this movie, superb, amazing. The climax, when you know the scene happens, if you've seen it, you know what I mean. Absolutely devastating, and I think the ending is weirdly like, it's like dread. It's a mix of dread and just like wholesomeness, I guess, because like I don't know, I think this movie's nearly perfect. It's just like a couple stuff in there just kind of, it didn't need to be as long as it was. The scene where he beats up the store owner for laying a hand on his daughter is ridiculous, because he does not look fit enough to kick somebody. Everything else, nearly perfect movie. We go from a nearly perfect movie to a perfect movie, in my opinion. The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, with, you know, Clint Eastwood. I don't think it was directed by Clint Eastwood, but I mean, what can I say? It's one of the best westerns of all time, if not one of the best movies of all time, with one of the best scores of all time, one of the best endings of all time. And I mean, I guess the first half of this movie, you could say, is a little slow, but like it's still great. It's still, you still like kind of get that like man, this western energy, I guess. And it's the ending is absolutely beautiful. and that 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 music at towards the end. Like, so I would have ended this May kind of stuff at a pretty high point, The Good and Bad and the Ugly. But then I watched Captain America: Brave New World, and it's a 2 out of 10 movie. When I was watching it, I kind of was like, all right, this isn't bad, you know what I mean? But then afterwards, I kind of thought about just like the stuff that happened, and it's just like nothing really happens in this. Nothing happens pretty much, and it's like just it's a very not overwhelming. It's very underwhelming. And I don't want to spoil this movie, but because I don't like spoiling stuff, but like it's just a very underwhelming movie. I feel like this could have been a lot better, and it's just like I hate in the MCU just butchering the Hulk constantly. Edward Norton's movie was alright. It's probably the best Hulk movie, but even then, it's not like the best in terms of like, oh, this is amazing. You know what I mean? It's just the best in terms of this is probably the best we're gonna get. And it's just like they had something with the Avengers Hulk, and it's just like they messed it up in Endgame, and it's just it made me I just justice for Hulk, all right, and don't even get me started on Ang Lee's Hulk. That movie is not good at all. I mean, they had good ideas, like him growing taller and bigger every time he gets mad, and just they had good ideas. It's just like we need a good Hulk movie, and I'm tired of seeing it just get butchered constantly. We need a good Hulk movie. So enough of my Hulk rant. It's all right. I feel like I'd probably give it a 2.5 because it's not a bad movie. But it's a very underwhelming movie, and it's like I didn't really even need to watch it. So then we get to June. All right, now there's significantly less movies that I watched in June, or like less movies that I reviewed in June, and I think I watched more movies in this month than I did last month. And we start off pretty strong with Killers of the Flower Moon. I watched this with my mom, and we watched all 3 hours, and it is, Martin Scorsese is very good at making long movies that make you like want to watch till the end. It's crazy. He is that good of a filmmaker to me. It has good commentary about like just kind of during this time of like Indians, and at the end of the movie like kind of like putting this play together of like the horrible stuff that happened that these people do to Indians, and like just turning it into a play for entertainment. I just spoiled that part, but I'm gonna put a spoiler right here every time I do. I'm not very good with that type of stuff, but that ending is very great. And it's this type of movie that makes you watch and you're just like, at the end you're just like, dang, that's insane. I rate it a 4.5. I feel like, again, it's a good movie. It's just with these Martin Scorsese movies, I feel like they could just be cut down a little bit, and it'd be just as good. Next movie we have that I feel like I gave it a 4.5, but I feel like this could be a 5 if I give it another rewatch. And I already reviewed it. Forrest Gump. No, not Forrest Gump. wait. Fargo, 1996 version. Now, I already made a review. I already talked about this, and I talked about it probably more in depth than some of my other reviews. But yeah, it's great. You know what I mean? I love, not really murder mystery, but just like movies that are kind of a vibe, and I feel like this is pretty much like it's more of a vibe than anything. Yeah, I've already talked about it. You just watch watch my review. Very good movie. Then we get Forrest Gump, which I feel like is a pretty perfect movie. I know a lot of people say that this movie is overrated, basically, and honestly, I don't see it. I feel like just Forrest Gump's character, I feel like people take it a little too seriously, and I'm like, this is basically a cartoon character living in real life, because everything pretty much goes well in his life, except his girlfriend, which I forgot her name. I know what her name is. I just forgot. She's a terrible person for leaving him, honestly, and it's just like I feel like people take this movie a bit too seriously. And it's like it's about a guy who's like not very smart, who just gets pretty much like like wins at life. Forrest Gump as a character is pretty funny. Like just like the concept of him like just being dumb and like kind of getting away with a lot of things is pretty cool. I do feel like they could have focused more on certain parts of history, like the Black Panther one. I feel like if they would have just like focused a little more harder on like certain scenes like that in history, then it's like you know what I mean? Like it could have been a lot more interesting. The Vietnam and the Vietnam parts and the guy who lost his leg. I can't think of his name, but I know what it is. But it's not funny. It's like tragic, but like it's kind of like in a way, it's kind of like this guy, his family, whole family has just been through pretty much every war, and like they've all died in war, and it's like he's the one that survives. It's kind of like a funny concept, but like it is kind of tragic. It's great. It's a great movie. It's a classic. What can I say about it? Next one we got The Amazing Spider-Man. Now this is a Spider-Man movie not a lot of people really put up there as like one of their best. I gave it a 3.5. Personally, I like this movie, and I like the ideas it comes up with. I like Spider-Man. He's a lot more quippy in this than honestly. He's a lot more quippy than I'd argue the Sam Raimi one. Honestly, I feel like as a Peter Parker, I said in my review that he wasn't a great Peter Parker, but on rewatch, he's a pretty realistic Peter Parker. He looks like a 30-year-old man in in high school, but like I feel like just as like acting wise, he is a pretty a like more realistic Peter Parker. I like the Lizard. I like his design, and it's just like his motive is kind of weird, but everything else, like I like just like the shots in this movie of like Spider-Man swinging in the city. I like just him as a hero in this movie. And yeah, I think it's honestly one of my favorites. I don't think it's like a perfect movie, but he is definitely it's definitely one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. It's a very nostalgic movie for me, and I really like it. Barbarian. I feel like this movie is definitely one of those movies where you just gotta watch it. You can't I can't tell you much about it because I think even the director, while filming this movie, was writing, not because it had trouble production, but like stuff that he was even surprised about, and like there's stuff in this movie that you wouldn't even expect to happen. It's just the type of movie that you have to watch like yourself. Like you're not gonna expect pretty much anything from this movie. Next one we got How to Train Your Dragon, which it's the remake, the How to Train Your Dragon remake, and which I gave 3 stars because I'm not really a big fan of live action remakes. I always thought they're just very lazy ways to get a lot of money. Like usually Disney does that type of stuff, but DreamWorks decided to put their hat in the ring and make something like that. And even though I don't like these types of movies, it is way better than pretty much any live action Disney movie, because they got the actual original director to do this one, and it's pretty much a shot-for-shot remake, which the original is already really good. So it's like, it's like not much has changed, but it's like you're gonna expect the same movie. So it's not bad, because it's pretty much the same movie. It's just in real life, and I guess with the girl character in the original, I've always wanted them to focus on her, and they actually did that in this movie, which I appreciate. And like when they go on on Toothless, and they fly around, it is really cool, but it's also like I could be watching the original. You know what I mean? This is just to me, this is just like a 3D version like of the original, which it is, but like this is a movie that I probably will never watch again. But for a live action remake, it's not bad. It's not, it's well made. There are a couple things that it does a little bit better than. Also, an interesting thing is that me and my dad were gonna go see Mission Impossible, the new one, but we realized, oh wait, it's not out in theaters anymore because it came out about a little while ago at this point, so we couldn't watch it. So we just ended up watching How to Train Your Dragon, and then we get to a movie that I am sure most of my real friends who I've talked about it to are tired of me talking about it, but I don't care. It's Elio. I love this movie. I feel like on first watch I liked it a lot more but then I watched it with a friend in 3D. I still think it's a great movie, but I don't think it's as amazing as when I first saw it. It's still a great movie. I know, and there's something I do want to talk about with this movie. I already made a review on it that got a decent amount of views, but no one really liked it. But there's something I want to talk about this movie with, and that's kind of the discussion with how massive this movie bombed. And I think there are a couple reasons for that. So, first reason, the marketing for this movie was horrible. I didn't like anybody I talked to about this movie. They either didn't even know it existed or weren't really interested in it, which is perfectly fine. But it's just like they mostly advertise this on kids spots. So it's like, you know, the advertisement's in the right place. But then that brings me to another reason, is that this movie came out the same time as How to Train Your Dragon. And what are kids going to be more into? How to Train Your Dragon. They're going to be more into, dragon stuff, which I don't blame them. Disney recently pulled a stunt for this movie that is probably one of the dumbest things that they've ever done for a movie. Not only did they, you know how Disney sometimes does like fake like influencer type of like to promote their movies. Like they did that with Elemental with Claude, which is a whole meme thing at this point, like ironically, because it's so stupid. But basically, they tried to, get somebody to talk about, pay someone to talk about this, and saying like, you guys don't watch, original movies anymore, and you look at this. First of all, Sinners, literally anything A24 comes out with, weapons, like, we got some new stuff, we got some new ideas. And I think if you are, unless you are a child or somebody like me who's like an adult or like almost like a full legal adult who are still into like kids movies, you're probably not going to care about this, which again is kind of unfortunate because I love this movie, but I can also understand why people wouldn't want to watch this. All the bad things that could have made this movie bomb happened, and kind of makes me sad because this movie, like, it gives people I guess a reason to kind of trash this movie on Twitter. And it's like, it's a good movie. It is a really good movie. And it's like, it just makes me like kind of, one thing I want to talk about also is that Gordon is probably one of the best characters of 2025. If you're not going to watch this movie for anything else, watch it for this guy. He doesn't come until later in the movie, but still. Probably one of the best characters of all time. Free my boy. And then next on the movie list, we got The Batman. Now, I watched this because I was kind of bored and I wanted to watch Batman. I'm going to be honest with you. Hello, this is editor me here. I know this video is a little late. This is just me apologizing right now for making this video late. Anyway, so I say that what I'm about to say in this review, I said that this Robert Pattinson version of Batman was better than the 1989 Batman. I know you guys didn't see that because I'm probably not going to put it in the video, but I did say that, and I wasn't really thinking about that. I was thinking about, for some reason, I don't know why, I was thinking about Christian Bale's Batman, and for some reason I brought up the 89 Batman. I don't know why, but I was thinking of Christian Bale's Batman. I feel like Robert Pattinson's Batman is better than Christian Bale's, and that's what I was trying to say. But for some reason, I said Michael Keaton, so forgive me for my sins. I think this Batman is probably the most interesting Batman. This movie is better than most of the Dark Knight movies, except The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is probably one of the best Batman movies, but like the other two, I think that this movie is a lot better than the first and the last Dark Knight movies, because Christian Bale's Batman is just very uninteresting to me. Like, I've always thought he was just kind of not the best, and like also it doesn't help that his voice in that movie was just kind of a little over the top. I don't think he's like the worst Batman. I feel like just this Robert Pattinson's Batman, like this is his first 2 years of doing like fighting crime. I just feel like that's a lot more interesting. Like just like him kind of, learning to be Batman. I always find that a lot more interesting than Batman, who's already this absolute like best, Batman. And even then, like Michael Keaton's Batman, he's like just the ultimate Batman. And then you got Christian Bale's Batman, who's just like, he's good, but he's just like not as good as Michael Keaton's Batman. And then you get Robert Pattinson, who's just is a lot more of an interesting character to kind of look into. Like he's just like someone who's just starting out, someone who doesn't really know all the ropes, and is just still trying to figure out being Batman. I like the Penguin in this. I haven't seen the show, but I really want to. And Gordon, I feel like one thing I will say is that in the Dark Knight movies, Gordon had a lot more, I guess, aura around him than this new one, but he's still kind of reminiscent of like the older Gordon. He's like if the older like 1989 Batman had more character, because like they didn't do much with Gordon in those movies. But and then we're almost done here. We got Logistics, which if you don't know is probably it's the longest movie of all time, and I didn't watch it. It's a 34-day movie. And it's about this package basically going through the logistics and going through like going to America overseas. And I didn't watch it, but I did log it into my letterbox, and I don't think I'll ever watch this movie. Like just the thought of this movie's runtime makes me nauseous. And yeah, it's crazy. Next one we're gonna move on from that. Crazy Stupid Love. It has Ryan Gosling. I don't think I need to say much more about that. No, but seriously, this is the most insane rom-com I've ever seen. Like when I think of a rom-com, I just think of those Hallmark, romantic movies. Just kind of like just typical stuff, like boring type stuff. But like this is absolutely insane. So much, like there's like a plot twist in here I was legit not expecting. You just watch the first 5 minutes of this, you will be like, what is going on here? The ending is a little questionable in certain parts, but it's not bad, and Ryan Gosling is Ryan Gosling. Steve Carell plays a really convincing just loser character. It's a wild movie. That's all I'm gonna say. And yeah, you should just watch it. I'm trying to say as much as I can about these movies, but it's just like. And then I watched Ocean's 13. I love the way this movie looks. I love the editing. I love like just like the colors in this movie. And like just the reds when they get in the casino, amazing. Now, if you don't know what the Ocean series is basically like kind of a heist type movie with George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Don Cheadle, like just a really stacked cast. And they basically throughout these movies they kind of just do heist. And this is the first one I saw because it was on Netflix and it was gonna leave Netflix soon, so I just decided to watch it. This movie is insane. It has Al Pacino as the villain of this movie, and he's great in it. All right, and I love the way this movie looks. It's the editing, and like just kind of how they have like multiple stuff. Like I feel like it's very ahead of its time, I guess. Like just like with its editing and like stuff like that filmmakers do now. It's crazy. There's some parts in the movie where it's like, I didn't really follow up on everything in the plan that they were like talking about, because I'm not the brightest, but I followed pretty much most of it, and it's kind of complicated. It's a little like the plan is a bit complicated, but it's just still a really fun movie. I'd really recommend it. I haven't seen the other Ocean's movies, so yeah, I might watch them. Next movie. Now, I did not really formally rate this movie. I just gave it a heart, because I don't know what to feel about this movie. It's Shark Tale, and it has Martin Scorsese, and Will Smith, and this is a fever dream of a movie. It's just like, I can't tell if I hate this movie or love this movie, or hate it because I love it, or love it because I hate it. It's just a very, like, I grew up with it, and it's like, I don't know what to feel about it. It's just a very weird movie. that somehow got a really big cast for it. We're gonna move on to another fever dream of mine, Barnyard. This movie is like insane in all the right and wrong reasons. Like, I feel like some of the scenes are just so stupid that they're kind of good. Cause you got scenes like, that are for mostly kids, and then you got like scenes like Sam Elliott cow that like the what happens to him, and it's just like you got serious scenes like that mixed with like just really goofy scenes, and it's just a really weird mix of like crazy stuff. It's just a crazy movie, honestly. I wouldn't call this a great movie, but I also wouldn't call this a bad movie. It's a very like it's a movie that I know it's not good, but like I just had a lot of fun with, pretty much. And yeah, that's all the movies that I watched in those 2 months. Now, tell me what you think about it. And I gotta go. I gotta watch Jurassic Park. So yeah, I'll see you when I see you. Bye.